Hey there guys, I am the Six Machine and welcome back to another Warhammer video. The T'au, as we know, are well on their way for a release early next year, and we've been shown a few of the upcoming rules for them so far, with things like Montcar and Carry On, but today we have been shown off some more new things to look forward to for their little blue fellas, and Warhammer community have teased not only a few of the new weapon profiles, but also some stratagems and a very funky new rule for the ever popular Battlesuits. Now, Battlesuits have been in a weird, not quite a monster, not quite a vehicle, grey area for a little while now, which means that a few rules and abilities you would expect them to have just haven't been available to them. But it looks as though now, in the new 9th edition Codex, they are getting an awesome new bonus ability, the Battlesuit rule. And this pretty much just lets them act like vehicles with the big guns never tire rule, which means they can shoot into combat even if they're in engagement range of an enemy unit, although this is a bit better than the regular vehicle version because it A, doesn't have the -1 to hit penalty, which big guns never tire does have, and also B, as far as we can tell from the rule as it's written on the community page now, it doesn't exclude the use of blast weapons either. So if you want to fire some blast weapons that the suits may have, you can, at least until the Codex says otherwise, fire those into combat as well with Battlesuits in the new Codex. So all in all, it is a really very powerful rule and will mean that what once was an army your opponent would really want to get into combat with, where, you know, the T'au are almost completely defenseless with their terrible melee, they are now going to be really worried about getting into combat with your forces, because as you charge in, if their suits survive that initial assault phase, they are going to be unleashing an enormous amount of firepower back into your units in their following shooting phase, and they will probably wipe out or at least seriously damage your prized combat units if you don't kill them in one round of combat. And to help them kill your guys even more effectively, of course, there are some brand new weapon profiles to go through as well, and they showed off two of them today. The Burst Cannon, which has had a lovely little boost from Assault 4 to Assault 6, with the same Strength 5, no AP, 1 damage profile, so I mean, it's not an amazing gun by any stretch, but it is now doing an extra 50% shots, so that is going to add up just in terms of, you know, drowning your opponent in weight of fire. And then similarly for the T'au Flamer, imaginatively named, is the same damage profile but fires D6 plus 2 shots rather than just D6, which also gives you a minimum of 3, which is going to be really helpful just for that reliability factor, and again means that if your opponent is wanting to charge a unit into your Battlesuits, it's going to be a really dangerous prospect because of all the overwatch that you can put into them. On top of that, they also show off some of the new rules for the special upgrades and support systems that the Battlesuits can take, with the multi-tracker now sporting exploding 6s against enemy units of 6 or more models instead of the reroll hit rolls of 1 that it currently is. I think math-wise that works out roughly the same in terms of total hits, but it does of course mean that if you are getting your rerolls from another rule or another ability or an HQ or something, this is just going to be a flat out upgrade to the number of hits that you're going to be getting. And then the target lock, now instead of ignoring the penalty for moving and firing heavy weapons or advancing and firing assault weapons, now just gives you ignore light cover. And I mean, this, obviously the moving and firing heavy weapon thing is kind of moot because that is just an infantry only rule now and Battlesuits are not infantry. The advancing and being able to fire assault weapons is a bit more of a hit because that is a really powerful rule to have. But ignoring light cover in 9th edition is also really strong because of the amount of terrain and, you know, battlefield debris that can be littered around the board these days. It is pretty much always going to be a useful ability to have. So I mean, the target lock is possibly more of a side grade than an upgrade, but I do think that the multi-tracker, in my opinion, is pretty much going to be a flat out upgrade most of the time to take on your Battlesuits. And then finally they show off a couple of stratagems, Fire and Fade being 1 or 2 CP depending on the size of your squad, and this lets you essentially do the old jump shoot jump mechanic that the T'au had, and you use this at the start of your shooting phase and it lets you shoot and then make a 6-inch move afterwards. So you can pop out of cover, shoot at your enemy, and then dive back behind line of sight terrain to avoid any return fire. This is a really powerful rule and will do wonders for not only keeping you out of enemy gunfire and out of enemy gun sights, but also allow you to stay further away from enemy melee units that little bit longer, because you can just shoot them and fall back and just make them have to do really long bomb charges to try and get to you. And then drop threat acquisition, which is a hefty 3 CP if you have more than 4 battlesuits in your squad, but this lets you, on the turn that your battlesuits arrive from Deep Strike, or Manta Strike I should say, lets you have full rerolls to hit. So immediately that makes the multi-tracker from above a huge upgrade right off the bat, but it means that your big squads of suits will be getting a frankly obscene number of hits into the enemy with those full rerolls, and with a full Crisis squad or a full Battlesuit squad, you can pretty much rely on it killing almost anything on the board if you deep strike and then use this stratagem to get full rerolls on all. Assuming you can still take a full squad of 9, I believe is the max at the moment. They might limit it, but even a full squad of like 5 battlesuits with full rerolls, with all the plasma and the melter that they can take, is pretty much going to kill almost anything that your opponent can put down on the board. And yes, as we said, 3 CP for the full squad doing it is really pricey. That is a big investment. But if it lets you kill something like a big enemy character like Magnus, or a vehicle, or a key important squad that your opponent has, that could very well win you the game, and for me, that is worth 3 CP every single time. So there we go, a few really nice rules coming for the T'au it seems, and it looks as though they're going to have some incredibly powerful tricks up their sleeves to not only help them keep away from your enemies for a bit longer, but also to really punish any that do get that little bit too close. But what do you think of these new T'au rules? Are you a fan of them, or is there something else that you are really hoping to see as well? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe for more Warhammer content from me, but until next time, I will catch you later guys.